Hello guys and welcome back to Oz on the Ball, welcome back to another video. So first week of finals, crazy it's happened. So yeah, this is first week of finals, my tips, so still doing my tips as normal, but obviously not as many games given it's finals. And I will have some finals predictions that will hopefully come out in the next couple of days. But last week had 10 games, got 9 tips right, which I'm pretty happy with. A couple of them were pretty easy to tip though, dead rubbers, and 4 out of 10 Ollie's calls. So pretty average week for the Ollie's calls, but it was a pretty good final round of footy in the end. So just looking at my tips from round 24. First game of the round, Carlton Essendon. This feels like ages ago now. I tipped the Blues to get up. They got up in a pretty comfortable one. Friday night, we had two pretty good games. Collingwood beat Melbourne in a close one, and Port Adelaide got an upset in Ken Hinkley's last game. Then the Saturday, we had three pretty one-sided games. Adelaide North actually ended up being alright, but Adelaide were the strong favourites. Geelong comfortably beat Richmond. Sydney comfortably beat West Coast. And then on the Sunday, some games that really shaped the eight. GWS St Kilda, I tipped GWS. They got up made it a little harder than you would have thought. And then Freo beat the Dogs in what was probably the most important game of the round, and ended up being the game that made the Dogs miss out on finals. It was a good upset tip. And then the last two games of the round, Lions beat the Hawks to get top four, and Suns smashed Essendon to make finals for the first time. So that was what happened in round 24. So, on to my tips for the first week of finals. First match of the round, or it's not really a round, we've got an absolute blockbuster. Adelaide v Collingwood, Adelaide Oval, 7:30pm on the Thursday night. These two teams only played about 3 weeks ago, so it's a pretty rare thing that happens when two teams play each other so close. But yeah, it should be an absolute blockbuster game. Adelaide, 18-5, had a great season, really come from the clouds. Even midway through the season, they were looking like they were a good chance for top four, but first place seemed like it wasn't going to happen, and then Collingwood choked, and Adelaide were the big winners of that, ended up finishing a game clear on top, now got a home qualifying final. The last time they played a final was 2017 in the grand final. They lost to Richmond. They've been down the bottom of the ladder a lot since then, and now they're finally rising back up. And they're not quite the premiership favourites, but they're definitely up there. And then you got Collingwood 16-7. Their last final was the 2023 grand final where they beat Brisbane, missed out on finals last year, back in the 8 this year. They were looking like they were going to be minor premiers. They fell to 4th, but they could still easily win this one and host a home prelim. But I'm going to tip the Crows in this one. I'm going to tip them by 17. With my Ollie's call, there are 5+ lead changes. The second qualifying final on the Friday night, we've got Geelong v Brisbane at the MCG, 7:40pm. Geelong 17-6. Had a pretty easy finish to the season. Finished top 4 just for something different. They finish top 4 every year, so it was a another good season for Geelong after their prelim final campaign last year, and their last final was the 2024 prelim final where they lost to Brisbane, so this sets up as a rematch of that. And then you got Brisbane, record 16-1-6, had a good win over the Hawks last week to lock in top 4 spot while they finished 3rd. Their last final was obviously the grand final last year where they beat Sydney. So this game, rematch of the prelim final from 2024, that game was one of the games of the year from last year. I reckon this game can live up to it again. I'm going to tip Brisbane by 8 in this one, with my Ollie's Cole, Logan Morris and Charlie Cameron combined for 6+ goals. Next game, NG Stadium, 3:15pm Saturday. Got the Giants v the Hawks. Giants 16-7. Last week, had a decent win over the Saints, won by 11. It was actually a pretty good game. Even as a Saints fan, I was pretty happy with the way we played, but the Giants were always going to win. They held on, secured a home final, as in not that it means much to them, but a home final's a home final. as in there'll probably still be more Hawks fans there. And their last final was the 2024 semi-final loss to Brisbane, which was quite interesting, and just their final series as a whole last year was pretty disappointing. And then you got Hawthorn 15-8, last final 2024 semi-final loss to Port Adelaide. Very close game. They could have easily won. James Sicily hit the post, but they're back at it again this year, and have had a really good season. Nearly beat Brisbane last week, couldn't quite get there, but now they're really priming up for a massive finals campaign. Both these teams could see them making prelim, even maybe the grand final, but they could also, obviously, one of them has to lose here. MCG, I'm probably tipping the Hawks, given the Giants don't play there much, but I think at NG, I feel like the Hawks don't play there a lot. They don't play away that well, so I'm going to tip GWS in this one at NG. I'm going to tip them by 26, with my Oz called GWS lead at all changes. And then the final game of the finals week one probably serves as the most interesting game. Optus Stadium, 7:35 p.m. Saturday night. We've got Fremantle v Gold Coast. Freo 16-7 last final 2022 semi-final loss to Collingwood. Yeah, so it's been a while for Freo. They've had a couple of near misses. Looks like they're going to make finals, then lost their last couple and missed out on finals like last year. All they needed to do was beat Port Adelaide and they lost, so they missed finals. But this year they didn't make that mistake. They beat the Bulldogs pretty convincingly in the end. The Bulldogs made the margin look better, and now they've got a home elimination final against another team that hasn't played finals in a while, or shall I say never. The Suns, record of 15-8, last final, never. They've never played finals, and they've finally made it, and I think they're ready to have a real crack. They've got a pretty strong list if you look at it, made of match winners, made of big game winning mids, big game winning forwards, really important key backs. I think they've got the list to go to a prelim final. But this is going to be a massive first hurdle against the Dockers, and I think the Dockers will be a bit too strong at home, but it'll be a pretty close game. I'm going to tip Fremantle by 3, but my others call the team that is leading at 3/4 time losers. So just a recap of my tips for the first week of finals. First game, Adelaide Collingwood. Could go either way, as they all could really, but I'm going to tip Collingwood in this. I'm not Collingwood. I'm going to tip Adelaide in this one by decent margin, 17 at home. They should get the job done. Next game on the Friday night. I don't know why so many people are tipping Geelong. Brisbane beat them twice this year. I think they're going to make it 3 times. Win on the road at the G against the Cats on the Friday night. And then the 2 elimination finals, probably the most unknown finals. Some of these teams haven't played very much finals in recent years. GWS Hawthorn, I think Giants will be too strong at NG there. They're probably the better team on paper. And then for our Gold Coast, could Gold Coast get a win in their first final? I think they could, but Freo at home, they've been in some really good form lately. That performance against the Bulldogs was really complete. And I'm going to tip Freo in the final game of finals week 1. So those are my tips for the first week of finals. Thanks for watching Oz on the Bowl. I hope you enjoyed another tips video. So 3 more weeks of the AFL season after this. Not many games left now, so really things heating up. Obviously finals. And yeah, hopefully my finals predictions will be out in the next couple of days. But as always, thanks for watching and see you next time.